Muy buenas, queridos Giants fans. Estamos de vuelta en el canal, estamos con un directo que queremos que estéis muy presentes porque lo vamos a pasar muy bien hablando de Giants Football. Pero antes que nada, acordaros siempre de suscribiros al canal, dándole like, subscribe y campanita, que es súper importante. Y nada, hoy tenemos un invitado de lujo, tenemos a uno de mis amigos favoritos de Giants Content en inglés, para mí un referente, un gran tipo, lo podéis seguir en Twitter como Bobby Skinner. ¿Qué tal, Bobby? How are you, man?
Good. ¿Cómo es mi hermano? For this powerful. Ruben, it's always good to catch up with you. We've been supporters of each other since the early days, so it's always fun to come and talk with your audience.
Totally. It's 10 in the morning in Florida, where is Bobby. Here it's 4 o'clock in Spain. So let's see how many people connect, but for sure many people is going to connect after. If you have some questions, si tenéis son preguntas para Bobby, you can put here the questions, you can put here the subjects you want to talk about Giants. Bobby, we are in the off season. This is a Super Bowl week, but we talked before about Gentleman, if he's going to stay or not. He's staying. Let me know how you see everything right now in this moment in February. We have the free agency, we have the draft in the horizon, but how do you see these Giants right now?
Well, you mentioned Gettleman, so I'll start with him. I think the way they looked at it is, hey, we decided to bring you back last year. And last year, it was an awesome offseason last year. You know, free agency was out of the park with Bradbury and Blake Martinez and some of the other the cheaper deals. And the draft we feel pretty good about. Andrew Thomas struggled at first, but he came along as the season went. McKinney, it's still up in the air because he just didn't play a ton because of the injury. And then you had contributors from all throughout the draft. Parrott, third round pick, contributed and showed some promise. Darnay Holmes in the fourth round. He looks like he's really good. He's going to be the nickel corner for a long time. Shane Lemieux, even though he had some struggles, he showed he could be a starter in the NFL. And then, you get Tay Crowder, Cam Brown, Carter Call. You got people who contributed to this team from the late round pick. So I think that is why they did it. And you got to like Joe Judge. How could you not love Joe Judge after 1 year, what he's about? He seems like he's the real deal. And I think he's going to learn from his mistakes, and he's someone who looks at himself and tries to get better at the things he screwed up and really preach the things he did right. So I feel good. I'm not predicting the Super Bowl next year, but I feel good about where they're heading, which, you might not have been able to say in the past years.
So, Bobby, are you happy with these three? With the next important, because I think it's the most important, no, in American football. You played the position of left tackle. Andrew Thomas was the player you wanted in the draft. Not many people know that Bobby wanted this player to be our pick. Joe Judge is the head coach, and Daniel Jones is the quarterback. It's probably the three most important things in a football team, no?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'll go. Andrew Thomas, I'm definitely happy with. Yeah, did he struggle in the first 8 games? Yeah, but he's a rookie, and you look at the last 8 games, and he did. Besides Arizona, which they got him in the fourth quarter a little bit, he looks solid. And I do the videos of him and Jedrick Wills and Mekhi Becton every week. He was better than Jedrick Wills at the end of the season. Him and Becton were basically the same. Becton had some bad plays, but he's good in the run game the same way Thomas is. Becton has more highlight plays, so I feel good about him. Joe Judge, I feel really good about. I'm worried about Jason Garrett, obviously. I don't know what his relationship is like with him, but we know it's really good with Patrick Graham. Those guys are like best friends. And then Daniel Jones, everyone knows I like Daniel Jones. But I am worried because I don't like the offense that Jason Garrett has. I doesn't play to his strengths. And he's entering year 3. And year 3 is such a big year for a quarterback, So even if you think he could be good, but it doesn't play good this year, or doesn't, the Jason Garrett offense continues to stink, well, you still kind of have to make a decision, then you might be, we may be drafting a QB next year or moving on. So this year I am last year going into the season, I was very confident in Daniel Jones because of what I saw with him and Pat Shurmur's offense. This year, I'm nervous of what we're going to see out of Daniel. We'll see improvement, but it's how much improvement will we see out of him.
About Garrett, Bobby, you've been in the Senior Bowl and you met Joe Judge. Many people know it because Twitter, it was a big news on Twitter that you talked with Joe Judge and Patrick Graham about the back and shake t-shirts.
Yeah.
But it was Jason Garrett there, or he was not on the Senior Bowl?
No, I was reading a Dan Duggan article because I didn't see Jason Garrett, that Joe Judge and Patrick Graham were the only coaches there. So no coaches were there besides those two. And then they had some scouts there. I think I saw Kevin Abrams there. I didn't see Dave Gettleman. I don't know if he was there or not, but I didn't see Dave Gettleman. But I saw maybe like 4 people. I didn't recognize them, but then I saw Judge and Graham. Those are the two coaches there.
Awesome, man. They are so close, no? Because I think you told to Justin, no, on the podcast that they are really good friends. They have good chemistry together. So it's important that Graham is staying with us another year more. Yeah,
man, it's so important. They are, we did the joke about the shake and bake shirts. That's truly who they are. Patrick Graham said, like, he changed his plates to that. And you remember when Joe Judge was on the radio a few weeks ago? He was like, Patrick Graham's the only coach in the building with me right now, going through, getting our free agency stuff ready. So those guys truly are like best friends. And they like, Patrick Graham is the assistant head coach, Ruben. And, a lot of people have that title, but I really think it's true with Patrick Graham. Like, he really is the assistant. Like, those guys are one in, like, those guys are intertwined. They make decisions together. So I love the relationship they have. I wish I could sit in and just listen into a conversation they have of going through a third round wide receiver or something. Like, I would pay so much money to just sit back and listen to those guys talk.
So, Bobby, you've been in the Senior Bowl. Really important step in your career. I think it's amazing that you had the accreditation to go to some important event in the free agency this year more, because we don't have the combine this year, so it's going to be most important. Even how was the experience for you? What you can say to us? It impressed you more in Mobile, in Alabama? How was the experience in general?
It was fun, man. With COVID, it was a little different, because you had to stay away from people and you couldn't really go up and talk to the players. So with COVID, it was a little bit different, but I had fun, man. It was fun watching the players, going to the practice. I was taking notes the entire, way a day and then writing it down and making videos and stuff. So there's a ton of players, man. And there's so many wide receivers I really like going after that, where it's like, man, this wide receiver I like, Amari Rodgers, Nico Collins, Kadarius Toney. Like, there's so many wide receivers where it's like, I almost don't want to take a wide receiver in the first round now because I want to take all these other guys.
So you think, because this offseason is going to be important, what we do in the free agency first, if you go first wide receiver, or we go to defense, some cornerback, maybe, I don't know, some edge rusher. What do you think is going to be the tactic of the front office? You think they're going to go up for a playmaker in the free agency, or they're going to wait to the draft when it's a really good class with Waddle, maybe Kyle Pitts? What do you think?
Man, I need to dive in the free agency to see who's there, but there's so many. I know there's a ton of wide receivers in free agency this year. There's a ton of wide receivers. So I think free agency will tell us what they're going to do in the draft. So they may, or they could confuse us more. If they go and get like a mid wide receiver, like a Curtis Samuel, or, I guess Corey Davis would be a little higher, then it tells you like, okay, they might stay with wide receiver in the first round. But if they go get an Allen Robinson or a Kenny Galladay in free agency, well, then that means that, they're going to either go defense or Kyle Pitts or maybe even another offensive lineman. We'll see. So I think they're going to have to get at least one wide receiver, though. Even if it's not one of the top guys, you're going to have to get one wide receiver, which would be weird because then they could draft one and then you have 4 guys in a position that usually plays 3 players. So, but maybe if they've fallen in love with a guy like Kyle Pitts, then they have to go and sign a wide receiver. So I think free agency will tell them. And then I think they're going to do a lot of filling in little pieces. Like, I think they'll bring Kyler Fackrell back. I think they'll add somewhere in there. just little, like, you maybe get like a cornerback for $3-4 million or something to compete with Isaac Edom. So I don't think they're going to do what they did last year, where it's like, hey, 15 mil for Bradbury, 10 mil for Blake Martinez. I think it's going to be one wide receiver and then kind of little signings after that.
We're gonna cut Nate Solder, no? I read. It's true.
I think so. I think he might retire. Honestly, I think that he may retire. It sounds like he may retire, and he wasn't good. I mean, there's a reason the Giants drafted Andrew Thomas. It wasn't because they thought Nate Solder was going to opt out. It was because Nate Solder was really bad. So maybe he can come and play right tackle and be better. But yeah, I feel like they have to, like, especially that he hasn't played the last year. I really do think you have to move on from Nate Solder. So we'll see. I don't know how much money. They say more money if they wait till June. So if he retires, it may make that decision a little easier.
Yeah, I think it's not gonna put many problems. He's a nice guy, and I think he's really grateful what the Giants did for him, the big salary he had. Probably if he's gonna retire, he's gonna retire in June, no, for make everything easier.
Yeah. I think if he does that, the Giants save, like, they can use more, like an extra like $5 million or something, which is a play like that. You could get a good player for $5 million. So
absolutely,
especially this year, I'm very into. They don't know what the cap number is this year. I'll be surprised. I don't think people are going to spend really a ton because of COVID. I think it's going to be a weird year for free agency. So you might get some good deals, like Dalvin Tomlinson. Everyone's worrying about bringing him back. I think there might be a good chance Dalvin Tomlinson gets brought back on, a cheaper deal than we think. Like, I think we can bring back Dalvin Tomlinson for less than 10 mil because of COVID. Like, our team's going to break the bank for Dalvin? I don't know.
It will be amazing. We have the question in Zona Gigantes if Dalvin Tomlinson or Leo Williams. Jorge Vico, it's here. He said that he prefers he prefers Tomlinson. I prefer Williams, but maybe we can renovate both, no?
I think there's a way. Jorge's saying to cut Tate, and they will cut Tate. I'm pretty sure of that. I think that they're not going to bring back Kevin Zeitler, or they're going to try and make him rework his deal. But I don't think they're going to bring him back with that money. I mean, they are trying to trade him at the trade deadline, So I don't think if they really want to, they can. But I think they might let Dalvin test free agency, and I think there's a reason why he hasn't been re-signed. Like that's something I think that's telling. I think if the Giants wanted to re-sign him to this deal and was a priority, I think it would have already happened with him so far, Because I think he would want to do that too.
Yeah, let's see what is happening. Bobby, if you are the general manager of the New York Giants, what we will do in this free agency? You will sign a wide receiver? Will you wait till the draft? What will be your movements if Bobby Skinner is the GM?
I would I think I might want to go all out for Allen Robinson. Like, you get Allen Robinson, and then that makes the draft. You can do whatever you want in the first round if you go get a guy like Allen Robinson. You can still sign Jalen Waddle. Like, you can and just, I'm a big believer of making your strength the strength. So I don't care about double dipping at positions. You could go, get a Jalen Waddle. You could get Kyle Pitts. You could get, the corner from Alabama, Patrick Surtain. You could get an offensive tackle if you want. A defensive, like, if you sign a guy like Allen Robinson, you really can do whatever you want in the draft. You can really take best player available, which, isn't always the easiest thing to do. So I think I would probably go all out for that and let Dalvin Tomlinson walk. Keep Leonard, and try and restructure Zeitler and then fill in little spots after that. Like maybe
how much you think Leo is gonna cost?
18 mil, 18, 19 mil. But you have to bring him back. He was too good to not bring back, and obviously they traded, picks for him. I would be shocked if Leonard Williams isn't back. Like, he is, like, out of all the guys who could not be back, he's the one I think that is for sure back.
Yeah, Leo Williams was a beast this year, absolutely. Let's see if Tomlinson is not asking for so much, and like Bobby says, can be like 8-9 millions will be an amazing idea, because he's a nice guy. Also, he's the captain of the team, and for stop the run, it's unbelievable player.
Yeah, I think the captain thing means something to people. So I like him, but I also don't want to pay like 15 mil for him. So I would always say let him go to free agency and let him see what he can get. And if you want to match it, if it's something that you feel good matching, match it if you're the Giants. If you don't, then let him walk. Like I don't, for me, I like Dalvin a lot. I think he's an awesome player, but he's not a make it or break it guy for me.
Yeah. So let's see what is going on. And Vico is saying for the chat, Tomlinson, he's in Flume love for Tomlinson.
I love him too. We have so many guys on that line with Dexter, Leo.
Yeah.
Hell, even the backups are pretty good with BJ Hill and Austin Johnson. So we just have so many guys at that spot, you know.
Well, we have one question of Oscar Casado. He says, what do you think about the thought of trading DJ Saquon and 3 of first rounds for the Sean Watson, the QB of Houston? What do you give for him if Giants had the opportunity? What do you will give for Watson?
I go back and forth, because if they did that, I would be like, okay, like you're taking a chance. You go get a guy like Deshaun Watson, who's a great quarterback. But I also view what the Texans are in right now. The Texans basically did that. They had Deshaun Watson, and then they traded their picks away, you know, to get a Laramie Tunsil. Now they were dumb in trading DeAndre Hopkins. Like that was stupid. Like that's probably the biggest thing. Like if they have DeAndre Hopkins, there's a good chance that maybe they still make the playoffs.
Well, Bill O'Brien is not more in the building, no?
Yeah. But it's like you look at Deshaun Watson, and he had a great year, and they won 4. You know, they were the 3rd worst team in the NFL. So yeah. I don't think it's like, I think we would probably win like the NFC East this year with Deshaun Watson, but then not having those first round picks going forward, I think would be a bigger issue than people realize. So like I don't know if it would set us up for long-term success, but it's also, you could, you know, I've heard people say the same thing. Well, what if, you know, the next 3 first round picks aren't that great? So so right now I would say no. But if they did it, I would also get excited for it, because it's Deshaun Watson, and you only get so many shots at these types of QBs, you know. And it's not a knock on Daniel, but I love Daniel Jones. People get mad at me for liking Daniel Jones.
Me too.
But he hasn't proven himself yet, you know. Yeah. Like he, as much as I like him, he hasn't proven himself. So you can't say like, oh, Daniel Jones is the guy yet. So it's tough, but I don't think that makes a ton of sense for the Giants right now. I think it helps them win the NFC East, but I don't think it makes them a Super Bowl contender next year. And then you don't have the pieces to build after that.
So, Oscar, this is what Bobby have answering to your question. If you have more questions, si tenéis más preguntas, las podéis dejar por aquí abajo y Bobby estará encantado de contestarlas. Bobby, it's you have like almost 260 episodes of Talking Giants. Wow, in 2 years, it's a lot of episodes. No, you're recording like 3 episodes every week.
In the off season is 2 a week, you know, and season is 3 a week. It is crazy, Ruben, because I remember, you know, it was just me and Danny. You know, I was talking with Danny the other day because, you know, obviously meeting Joe Judge was a cool moment.
Of course.
And you know, it didn't even used to be called Talking Giants. It was called the Giants Nation Podcast, you know. And then when we started doing draft stuff is when I think we got linked up with you guys. And that's where we started growing. But like me and Danny used to do the episodes through Skype on this phone. Like on like I plug my microphone into this phone and have this like crappy microphone on, and we record it on Skype, and we would record episodes that way. So it's kind of cool to see where it's grown, and now it's like, hey, we're kind of like, you know, like bigger people in the Giants community, you know, where it's like, you know, Joe Judge kind of knows us now, and people take our stuff serious.
Remember I have of you, it's the week we pick Daniel Jones, and other people was like, oh, these are crazy, this is terrible, we are the worst franchise in the NFL. I saw your video of counting crowds with your face singing the song of Mr. Jones, and I say, I like this guy, man. I like these people.
I like it. I always said I was going to keep that my pin tweet until Daniel Jones either won a Super Bowl or or was off the team. But I just changed it to the Joe Judge video. I had to change it, but I'll probably bring that one back sometime soon though.
Yeah, you have to do like a real version, no? With you with the rastas and singing like the Counting Crows.
I know. I have to I have to try and get an interview with the Counting Crows and do something like that.
So Crimple.
Don't answer that. That's a bad question, Ruben.
Okay, it's a bad question.
He's messing with us. He's trolling.
So Crimple, thanks for messing around also in Zona Gigantes. You arrived to Spain and Latin America as well.
Yeah, I'll knock you out, Cream Pie Lars. So how's it going for you guys though? I mean, you guys have grown. You know, the YouTube, it seems like, you know, we were talking before the show, YouTube's been big for you guys. It's cool, man. And we're seeing like we've had conversations, you know, before and after, you know, I think it's so cool. I didn't realize how international the New York Giants are. Like the video that you orchestrated that got on the Giants page of, you know, they're throwing the football to each other. It's really cool, man. So do you guys have people reaching out to you like, I just got into it, or is it more like the loyal, like, oh, I've always been a Giants fan type people?
Well, for example, Vico and me, we are Giants fans when we lost the Super Bowl against Ravens, because we had the Barcelona Dragons here, the NFL Europe. Was starting like arrive some NFL to Spain also, with many movies from the US and stuff. But I think the last 5 years is growing so much the NFL, and I think it's gonna grow up so much more in the next years, and we're gonna see like more international league and more international fans coming to our channels and coming to Twitter and following the Giants for sure.
I missed the international game. The next time the Giants are, you know, in England or wherever, I'm definitely like, I think we're gonna make sure we go to that, because that's such a cool thing they do, and I think it gains fans, and you know, and it's cool that you got to be in media. Have you talked to Sandro lately?
Who?
Platzgummer, Sandro Platzgummer.
Sandro. No, I was talking with him on Instagram, because he's on the practice squad. I mean, he's not playing or anything. But yeah, it was cool, man. We had like the press conference it was all German people. I was the only guy not German or from Austria.
Oh, that's fun.
So I was the only one talking in English. The other ones was been talking in German. It was like so weird. But I think many international players gonna go to the NFL, and I think it's growing, man.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's talk about this, because your guy, he got heat. Everyone was hating on him, and then people started to appreciate him a little more. Will Hernandez.
Yeah.
You saw me doing the videos and stuff. I don't know why he wasn't playing at the end. Like, I don't understand why Shane Lemieux was playing over him. And it's not. I don't think that's even a knock on Shane Lemieux. I think it's more just pro Will Hernandez. I don't understand why he wasn't playing at the end.
I think Bobby is the scheme of Garrett, that running the ball a lot, and I think Lemieux it's better run blocking than Will. I think Will is better word in general. I mean, it's not much better, but it's better word. But I think for the kind of a scheme Jason Garrett was using to running the ball many times with Gallman, with Morris, this kind of running all the time, I think Lemieux was helping so a little bit more. Will had the COVID also, was a really strange year for him in the middle of the season, have COVID, and I think he stepped down a little bit the season. But I think he's a great player, man. I think he's probably our next great guard in the future, but he needs to improve in the running game.
Yeah, man, it was just crazy to me that he just, like, Shane struggled in the pass game, and like Will doesn't. Like, he has some, you know, he's not perfect, you know, he's not like an all-pro guard, but I think he's a pretty decent guard. Where Lemieux, I mean, struggled big time in the pass game. I don't know what it is, man. I've tried finding out, like, what's the deal? Why isn't Will playing? And nobody has an answer for me. So it's going to be interesting because, we talked about Zeitler. We don't know what's going to happen with him.
Yeah.
If it's a big contract, but I don't know if they'll feel comfortable starting Will and Shane as their starting guards too. So there's that guard spot where the past 2 years we knew for sure. It's like, okay, Will and Zeitler. This year, man, we have no clue what they're what's going to happen at that spot. There's like 6 different scenarios that could happen with that spot.
I think that the biggest news, the best news we had this year in the O-line, Nick Gates, man. I mean, it's our guy. Since the beginning, you and me said, I think he's going to work out in the center. And he been amazing. No sacks this season. He played awesome in the O-line.
Yeah, you broke the news, remember? According to Ruben Vargas, that Nick Gates has been practicing center in Las Vegas with Will Hernandez. I want to go hang out. I want to go meet up with those guys. I want to, if they train together, Ruben, I'm going to try and get up there and like be a part of them for like a week. Because I think that would be pretty cool to like spend a day with them training up in Las Vegas or wherever.
You can do it, man. You're a former O-line player.
I know. And I've heard that Nick Gates' family likes me, so I'm going to try and hit that. Like, hey, talk to your brothers or whatever. Like, I think they watch the video, so I'm going to try and work that connection to go and do something with Nick Gates eventually.
So Joe Judge, when he saw you, what he said, like you play football or something like that?
Well, he was caught off guard because I kind of ambushed him, like I walked, so he wasn't like super receptive, and so I think he was a little confused, and then when he realized, like, oh, you're the guy making the shirts, they realized who I was. So yeah, but he was caught off guard, because I kind of ambushed him, like, hey, can I take a video, and so
yeah, it's difficult in these moments. You don't know what
I felt bad because I don't like doing that kind of stuff, but it ended up working out.
Yeah, it was funny. So Oscar is saying, I think giving them Saquon will be a mistake because we haven't seen him going off behind that O-line. He might be injury prone, but he has the 4th year and the franchise tag year to prove being our running back. For me, prove it the first year. He's our running back, no? I don't know. What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, people don't like running backs. They're like, oh, running backs don't matter. But guess what? We didn't have any this year, Robin. We didn't have those big, long touchdowns. We didn't have them. That's not a coincidence. Saquon does that. And, I was talking to Justin where he's like, oh, you got to get explosive plays. Well, guess where we got explosive plays the last 2 years we didn't get this year? Saquon Barkley. We didn't get those this year because Wayne Gallman isn't the running back that Saquon is. I think Gallman was good enough, but he's not the running back that Saquon is, man. So Saquon adds points and wins to the New York Giants. Like, there's no doubt about it to me. This idea that running backs don't add anything. Saquon adds wins. And you can go back and look at games from Saquon's first 2 years where it's like we don't win the game without Saquon this game, whether it's the Washington game last year, and you say, well, they were meaningless. It's like, yeah, but there's you could do that with every position besides quarterback, really. Chicago, his rookie year. Think about that, Ruben. Remember that big run he had at the end of the half? They were just going to go into halftime. He has this crazy 25-yard run, and they kick a field goal, and they won that game in overtime. So without Saquon that game, they win. So I understand the argument against running backs, but I also think they go too far, where a guy like Saquon Barkley adds points and he adds wins that other running backs don't do, and those like Gallman and Morris aren't making those plays, and it's proof they literally don't. Gallman, how many times did we say if Gallman breaks this one tackle, he's gone? Well, guess what? That's the difference between Wayne Gallman and Saquon Barkley. Saquon breaks that tackle. Wayne Gallman doesn't. Wayne Gallman makes that a 15, 18-yard run. Saquon makes that a 60, 70-yard run, and you get 6 points out of it. So I can't wait to see Saquon next year with this running philosophy. And I think the running philosophy became different with Joe Judge changed it, because in the beginning it was very bland, and then they started, we talked about Shane Lemieux pulling guys, doing different things. So I can't wait to see Saquon next year behind this line. Like, I don't know how he's going to be, post-injury, but I'm excited to watch him play.
Yeah, I mean, the injury, we saw many players with this kind of injury, the ACL, like Adrian Peterson, and they come back stronger and even better. I think the MVP in the league of Peterson was after the ACL injury. So yes. I think in these times, the ACL injuries have a really nice recovery. And also for Daniel Jones, Bobby, if Saquon is on the field, Daniel Jones going to have a better production because then they're gonna be afraid if Saquon makes a big play, and Daniel gonna have more time to do the big throws, no?
Yeah, and like because they still faced a lot of guys in the box with Wayne Gallman, but what they didn't face is linebackers worrying about their running backs as receivers. Like our like Wayne Gallman wasn't a receiving threat at all. Alfred Morris wasn't. Dion Lewis kind of was, but it was because people weren't really like Dion Lewis didn't make any crazy plays in the pass game. It was more of like, hey, like think about the nice plays from Dion Lewis in the pass game. The Tampa touchdown, that's a perfect throw by Daniel Jones. There was a big one versus the Eagles. Like they were all perfect throws by Daniel Jones. Where it's like with Golden Tate, it's like think about the Golden Tate big plays. They were all perfectly thrown passes by Daniel Jones.
Yeah, also the game against Philadelphia, all people is talking about the run of Daniel Jones, but the throws on this game was almost perfect. I saw on the QB school, he was making a really good game.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That game was the second Philly game was probably the one we won was probably like him play like he played perfect in that game. Like I don't say that lightly. Like he played perfect. And then the first game he played really well too, but Evan Ingram at the end. So that part was frustrating.
Butterfingers Ingram.
Yeah.
So Bobby, also draft. I saw you start to talk about many prospects of the Senior Bowl, also of the draft. If we are on the pick 11, that we're not going to trade up or trade down, we're gonna stay in the pick 11 because normally Gentleman is not doing trades on the drafts; he's staying.
Yeah.
Well, if you have the opportunity of draft these three players, Micah Parsons, Jalen Waddle, or Kyle Pitts, which one you go in further?
Right now, it's between Pitts and Waddle. Right now, I go Waddle. I think he's special. I think he could be better than Devontae Smith. You look when they played next to each other. I go Waddle. But if they go and add a wide receiver in free agency, I might change to Pitts. So right now, I go Jalen Waddle because I think he has the ability to be special. So I go Jalen Waddle right now. But it could, like I said, free agency could change it to Kyle Pitts if they add a wide receiver I like. So right now, I'm going Jalen Waddle, man. Like you look at, I did a tweet. You look at him when him and Devontae Smith were playing. Waddle had more yards, he had more yards. Like he had the better, like big plays. So I really like Waddle a lot. I mean, I like all three of the wide receivers, but Waddle to me is awesome.
But your favorite wide receiver of the class is Jamar Chase, no?
I love Jamar Chase, man. I think he might be the best player in the whole draft. I think he would have been the best wide receiver in last year's draft. I love Jamar Chase, man. If somehow he fell to the Giants, man, I would be banging on the table like you have to take this guy. There's no way you can not take him.
Hitting the coco now like Andrew Thomas pick, no?
Yes, big time. Even more so. I would be.
So you want to go offense on this draft in the first round?
Part of me wants to take the corner from Alabama, Patrick Surtain, if he's there.
He's good.
Because it would be awesome to have Bradbury and that guy. But yeah, I think when you have a QB, a young QB like Daniel Jones, I think you got to do everything to put good players around him. So right now I say offense.
So probably Golden Tate is not gonna stay with the team. Probably you're gonna cut him like Pico said. You wanna see like for example Waddle, Shepard, and Slayton, no?
Yeah, I think that would help out both those guys too, like where Waddle's like you got to cover him deep, where Slayton has gotten the safety help over the past. So you have Slayton on one side and Waddle on the other. You can't bring the safety over the top on Slayton anymore. You got to do that for Waddle because of his speed. So yeah, right now I would go there. And we did our wide receiver review for the podcast. And Sterling Shepard is better in the outside than he is a slot, and something I always said was, he's got to be a slot. He's got to be a slot. When you look at the numbers, he's better on the outside. So I'm fine with Shep playing on the outside, putting Waddle in the slot, and then Darius Slayton as the other outside guy.
Yeah, Waddle remembers me a little bit. These movements in the slot of Odell on the first years, that he can do a good route running, going outside. This is slants, no?
Yeah. Oh, he can do everything, man. That Alabama, he was averaging 20 yards per catch. That's crazy. you know.
It's a
So
lot.
he can do anything. I think he has the chance to be a special wide receiver. I think he may go. I think there's a chance he goes first as wide receiver for other drafts.
Let's see what is happening with Waddle. So Oscar is saying, "Could you Juju be a free agent target?" Yeah, he's in the free agency. He's hitting the free agency. If I'm not wrong, but I don't know. Juju maybe doesn't fit so well our offense, no?
Yeah, I don't think he'll be a target. Maybe he's super young and he is a good player, no doubt. So maybe they do go with Juju and keep him in the slot and keep Shep on the outside. But right now, I think there's better wide receivers can get for that same type of money that Juju will get. So I wouldn't be mad at it. I don't think he's top of my target list.
Boy, what do you think about Curtis Samuel? He was selected in the draft by Gentleman. He knows him very well. He's from the school of Ohio State, really nice school for wide receivers. We saw McLaurin. We saw really nice receivers. And I think maybe it's gonna be cheaper, no, than Golladay and Allen Robinson. If I'm not wrong, he's faster than them. He can go really good deeply. But what do you think about Curtis Samuel? He will be a good option on this free agency?
I wouldn't mind it. I think like you said, that he was a Dave Gettleman draft pick in Carolina. His stats aren't crazy, which means he could become on cheap. But like Shepard, he caught 80% of his passes this year. The years before that weren't great, but obviously, but he doesn't have those crazy numbers. He has a 77 catches, 850 yards, 3 touchdowns. So I haven't actually went and watched each free agents, but he seems like the guy, honestly, that is gonna if you told me the Giants will get a wide receiver in free agency, which one will it be? That's the one I probably would bet on that ends up being the Giants signing.
Yeah, it will be like Bradbury last year, no? Somebody that he knows very well, that is still young, 25, 26 years old, and can grow up much more in the Giants, no?
Yeah, I can definitely see that happening. He's 24 years old. I have his stat page right on in front of me. So he's still got time to grow too. So yeah, I would definitely be happy with that.
Yeah, we're going to start talking on Zona Gigantes about different free agency. Tomorrow we're going to talk about Allen Robinson. Every week till March, when is the free agency, we're going to talk a little bit about the free agency players. I don't know, Bobby, what do you think the Giants they will do in the draft the third day? You think they're gonna go more defense or more offense? Because we saw in the last draft was a pure defense on the last rounds. You maybe think we need more playmakers for Daniel Jones, as you said, but maybe we need to improve much in the offense of the team.
I'm a big believer on day 3 because people say stuff like, "Oh, always take best player available." It's like, well, that doesn't always work. You got to it's got to be a position that makes sense for you. Like the Giants shouldn't be taking the best defensive tackle in the first round. But day 3, you just take whatever player you think is the best, has a chance to be good in the NFL, you take them. So that means even
BPA, no?
Yeah, best BPA, best player available. So that even means to me, Ruben, besides quarterback, no quarterback, kicker or whatever. That even means if you take 3 wide receivers, I'm cool with that because most of the times those guys aren't really going to turn into big players in the NFL. So you just take even if you're doubling up on the same position, I believe in best player available. I remember last year my mock draft, I had 2 because we had 4 7th round picks. So I took 2 running backs in my mock draft in the 7th round. People were like, why would you take 2 running backs? I was like, I just took the best players I thought that were there. So yeah. When it comes to day 3, I am total best player available besides quarterback.
Look, Ty Crowder, I think it's amazing pick, Mr. Irrelevant, and he make big plays on this season. I mean,
I was mad that they picked the Brunson linebacker before him. I was like, how did they pick Brunson before this guy? But I love the Crowder pick, man. Like you said, I mean, they did it last year. I know they outside linebacker and inside linebacker are different positions, but day 3 they took Cam Brown, Carter Coughlin, TJ Brunson and Tay Crowder. I mean, who was the other one they took? Oh, Williamson, the corner from Minnesota. So with five picks, they took 4 linebackers.
Yeah, I mean, and Crowder was a running back in Georgia in the first year, I think. So he's really, it's really like, how to say, he can play in different positions.
Yeah, I love him.
Versatile.
Before the season and he started playing good, I was a big like, if they would have picked Tay Crowder in the 4th round, I would have been cool with that. Like I thought, I believed in him more than I did any like Coughlin, Like I believed in him more than any of those guys.
Wow. So good, man. So Jaime Centenera is saying, how do you rate the coaches now in the NFC East? How the Giants become division champs next year? Bobby.
So I'll go last Nick Sirianni, the Eagles coach, since he's new, and it seems like a desperate hire. Then I'll go Mike McCarthy 3, because he seems to be a train wreck in Dallas. And then so that leaves Joe Judge and Ron Rivera. Maybe this is me being biased, but I like Joe Judge. I think Joe Judge can be an all-time coach. So I'm going to go Joe Judge 1 and then Ron Rivera 2. I like Rivera 2. You probably remember last year, I wanted the Giants to get Ron Rivera.
True.
So Rivera 2 and Judge 1. And then how do they win the division next year? Daniel Jones has to take a step forward. And this defense has to stay at about the same rate that it was last season. And so a lot of it does come down to Daniel Jones. Obviously, new weapons will help that. It's how big of a step forward can he take to where, because you're not going to win the division at 6-7 games next year. You're probably going to have to win 9-10 games. So can Daniel Jones take a step forward to get us to 10-11 wins? That would be it for me.
Yeah, and let's see if we have a preseason, normal preseason without this COVID thing, because the COVID this year was terrible. So we have Daniela here. Daniela is representing the Giants in NFL Girls Mexico. She's a big friend of the program.
Oh, I know. She was in the video, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I know Daniela.
So Daniela is saying, greetings from Mexico City. Do you think Daniel Jones is going to prove himself during this 3rd year?
I think prove himself is a tough phrase. I think in year 3, people are going to feel a lot better about Daniel Jones than they did in year 2. Like I really like. It won't be like, oh, he is for sure 100% the guy. Like he's not gonna not kind of like an MVP year. But I think even though I don't like the Jason Garrett offense, having being in it for a 2nd year does help. Having continuity in it. You add weapons. They're gonna add some type of weapon, wide receiver, tight end. We'll see. Hopefully Evan Ingram won't have 5 interceptions that pop off of his hands. So I won't say prove himself, but after 3rd year, you'll be like, okay, he's definitely like the QB for the rest of his contract, at least, where this year, like if we were picking 5th or something this year, Ruben, people would be wanting to draft a quarterback. So
yeah, that's true.
I don't think we'll be having those conversations next year.
I hope so. And I think also for me, it's really important that Joe Judge have 100% trust on him since the beginning. I think he loves to work with Daniel. And I think it's really important when the head coach feels confident, with the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's an important relationship. We don't know how big of his and Garrett's relationship is, but yeah, I think, and Judge has talked about it a little bit, that throughout the year, Daniel Jones really showed to Judge when Judge was hard on him at times, and really kind of came out stronger through it. So yeah, I do think Joe Judge likes Daniel Jones, where at some point in the season I wasn't 100% sure if he did. Yeah,
it's really demanding coach, but at the end it's good. Man, another question. There's nothing about the Giants. How do you see the trade of Stafford and Goff? It was like a big news, no?
Yeah, huge news. I think the Rams are trying to win a Super Bowl, and this gives them a better chance to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but I don't think Matt Stafford's an amazing quarterback. He's had some bad teams where he's put up some good stats, but I was looking at some of his past years. He had a top 3 defense one year, and on that same team, he had Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate, who was catching 90 catches a year, in his prime, and he threw 20. His season was worse than Daniel Jones' rookie season.
Yeah.
So I'm not like 100% sold on Matt Stafford. You know, like I don't think he's like some amazing quarterback. I think it's good for the Rams to take that chance, but I think the Lions, it was a no-brainer trade for them. They weren't going to win with Matt Stafford going forward. They are in rebuild, so you can get 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and you get Goff, who isn't, you know, I don't think yeah, big contract. I don't think anyone's like crazy in love with Goff, but he has shown that he can win some games, you know? And the Lions have the 7th pick. They have, so let's say they keep Kenny Golladay. Maybe they pick a wide receiver 7th. Now they have Kenny Golladay, a first-round wide receiver. TJ Hawkinson is a tight end they like. A good running back in Swift that's getting better. They have like, that could be like an explosive offense. So I like it for Detroit, even though their coach is kind of weird with the kneecap stuff.
The dude, no?
Yeah, the dude.
I love that movie, man.
Yeah, that was crazy. I have never seen that movie. I've only seen clips. I need to watch it.
You have to watch it, man. You will love it. I'm 100% sure you will.
Is it on Netflix?
I think so. If not, in Amazon Prime.
What is it called? Is it called The Dude?
The Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski, yeah.
Yeah, it's from the Coen brothers. It's a really nice movie.
I need to watch it because everyone references that, and I've never seen it.
Actually, today is the Groundhog Day in the US. You saw the movie, no? Groundhog Day?
Yes, that's a good movie, Groundhog Day. People are getting mad at them this year, but I think it's a funny tradition. Like it's a harmless tradition. You know, it's corny and it's weird, but I like it.
So we have Inigo also from Mexico is saying, it's curious how the year developed. Giants Washington came as underdogs and last day came as the playoff contenders. I think the division will be between those two in years to come, 3-5 years. He's a Washington fan.
If Daniel Jones ends up being good and Washington's able to find a QB, whether that's they trade for somebody this year or, you know, they're able to trade up and get a draft. If they're able to figure out their QB position, then yeah. Although I do think Dallas has a ton of talent, and Dak Prescott being like, if Dak Prescott doesn't get hurt, the Cowboys probably win the division.
You think he's gonna stay in the Cowboys?
I do think he stays. So Dallas probably would be the favorite if he's healthy, but Mike McCarthy's a bad head coach too, so they could screw that up as well. But if Daniel Jones can be a good QB and then Washington's able to get a competent QB in there, yeah, I mean those two should be the favorites going forward. Yeah,
let's see if Wilson falls in the draft in the position of Washington. Will be difficult because Zach Wilson. It's I think since we are coming closer to the draft, the quarterbacks are always growing up. No.
Yeah, for sure. Here's what I will say: the Eagles are going to be the worst team. They're screwed. They suck, and they have no way of getting out of it right now.
Yeah, I saw the stats of Slay. They signed him for a big money, the cornerback. It was a disaster his year with the Eagles.
Yeah. That was a big sign. And they have so many guys. They have to cut a ton of guys, and the coach isn't great. And they have 2 QBs who probably aren't good, and Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts. So, yeah, they're screwed going forward. They are unless Jalen Hurts becomes some great QB, which I don't think he is. They're in trouble going forward. So I'm happy to see that.
They have minus 65 million, no, in the cap space.
Yeah, I think negative 80 million. I think it's more than 65. It's crazy.
It's crazy, man. So Inigo is saying, I totally agree. The only issue for the Giants and WFT is Daniel and the QB position for Washington. Also agree the Eagles sucks.
Yeah, for sure. I like you, man. You know, you are a Washington fan, but I like you.
I think Washington is the team I hate less in the division.
See, my brother's a Washington fan, and I have friends that are Washington fans, so I kind of hate them a little more than most people.
But why your brother is a Washington? He grew up in New Jersey like you, no?
Well, when he was born, we were in Florida. It's kind of crazy because we weren't into football much as young kids. We like racing. We were big racing fans, like NASCAR fans. And he liked Tony Stewart, and Tony Stewart's owner was Joe Gibbs. So when Joe Gibbs was the Redskins coach, so he became a Redskin or a Washington fan through that.
So you're happy the last years, no? You're always winning the team of your brother.
Oh yeah. I have friends that are also like a bunch of Washington fans too. So it's fun to rub it in with them.
And Daniel is saying the karma is coming back for the Eagles. Yeah, man. I had many fights with Eagles Spain fans here, man.
For sure.
They hate me. They hate me.
I see you. Every once in a while, I'll see you getting into it with people, man. I crack up every time.
So, Bobby, I think we are finishing this live because it's almost an hour. You have things to do also. You are now a John Boy Media reporter. Tell to the people where they can support Talking Giants, the Patreon, where they can follow you guys. I want you to win more Hispano and Latino Americans and Spanish followers, man.
We love it, and you guys are some of our biggest supporters from day one. You know, you guys, Coach Theo, and even not even the Hispanic followers. You know, the UK and Australia. So we love the international audience, and I got in trouble, Ruben, because whenever we have an international Patreon, and you know, I sent them to you too. I send you guys extra magnets.
Yeah.
And so someone posted them, and someone's like, "How come they got all those extra magnets?" So I got in trouble because if they found out I give international people extra magnets.
But the Patreon is working also for the international people.
Yes, yeah. Okay. So
they can pay you in euros, no?
It's like I think it's €2.
Okay.
But anyways, it's Twitter, you know, at Bobby Skinner _ at Talking Giants, and then the YouTube. The YouTube is where I think people like, because that's where a lot of people find us. Our YouTube.
Yeah, we want to put it on the description for the people.
Perfect. So that's where you can find me, man. Ruben, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate my brother.
Yeah, it's been a blast, Bobby. Let's see how the free agency goes and also the draft. Maybe we can do something special before the draft, talking a little bit with the guys, maybe like some common thoughts before the draft. And let's go Giants. Let's go Big Blue, man.
We will. We're gonna have you on the channel soon. And we got to do an Instagram live again. I haven't done one of those. I like that. Last time we did it, you got a big bump because you broke the Nick Gates news. So we got to. You remember I was in a hotel too that day. I remember that day. So we got to do that again too. I appreciate you, Ruben.
So please, por favor, follow Bobby on Bobby Skinner _ me, Ruben F. Vargas, also zonagigantes.com, Talking Giants and Zona Gigantes always working together, and subscribe to the channel. Adiós.
Adiós.